salad. That's what else in the house I had.
Absolutely can't stand it.
You've got one, haven't you, now, in the house?
Nope. Never ever gonna have one in my life, honestly.
When's your birthday?
Fucking cooked. What does it do? It does the same as a fucking oven.
Yeah, but quicker.
Yeah, but then
Using half the energy.
Why are you in such a hurry?
Well,
Why don't you just do it better, slower?
Because he wants it quicker.
Oh
He
god.
likes it quicker.
These metropolitan men, honestly.
Yeah.
They want everything yesterday.
metrosexual, metropolitan.
There we go.
Potato.
Did you do potatoes in the air fryer?
No, I didn't. No.
No, you don't do. You can't do. You can't do good roast potato in an air fryer.
And then you
got to do
potato
it slowly.
shake, and then you roast them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really good action.
And we can't. It was very good action. Yeah, we can't use duck fat or goose fat, so we have to. I use 50%.
Do you have a veggie in the family?
Yeah, and
Oh,
a
I
veggie and a
do.
vegan. So we do.
They cook their own for me. I do everything in goose fat.
You know, it is Christmas, Nikki. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be thoughtful towards everyone.
To be fair, this year I didn't do it.
Cook your own spud, you vegan twat.
That's a voice note for later.
Okay, if you ever are going to cook for a vegetarian, I
Yeah.
found the best mixture is half vegetable oil and half olive oil mixed, and then I massage each potato before I fry them on the thing and then stick them in the oven.
See, if you massage it, I paint my potatoes.
Yeah, painting works the same way.
Yeah.
But it's just but I use
Pastry
my
brush.
hands as a brush.
Yeah, I massaged mine.
Do you?
Massage your
And
potatoes
when
at
I
Christmas.
did my honey veg as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I massaged
Yeah,
them to
nice.
make sure they were all covered.
Actually, I
Massage your-
honeyed my parsnips this
You
year, and they
massa-
were much better.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Right,
Should we do it?
let's kick things off.
Popcorn pundits.
Podcast.
The last one of 2023.
It is. It's the penultimate 24th one. 24-year one.
What?
I have no idea.
I really love this.
Yes. Should we do it?
We should do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Perfect. So what are we going to do?
We are going to start with the top 10.
Fantastic.
So, shall we introduce the Popcorn Pundits
Oh, yeah,
first
that
of all?
first.
This is your Popcorn Pundit podcast. This is your weekly review update of what's happening on the silver screens, inside and out.
You are James Michael Mulcrone.
I bloody am, and you are Peter James Unger.
I bloody am.
Yes, and who are you?
Nikki Thatcher.
Nikki Thatcher. Yes, she is.
Nikki, Triangle of Happiness or Sadness.
She
or whatever.
is, yeah, Nikki, Woody Harrison, Thatcher. Smart. So the three of us like to approach movies from a complete different angle. Peter is very opinionated. I usually love everything, and Nikki tells us what we've done wrong.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
pretty much.
Well, I
Works
look
for
at it
me.
slightly differently. That you give me movies to watch, which like invoke anger. So so I've become much more emotional about
I like
my,
to think
my
so.
film reviewing
Yes.
than I was ever expecting.
Poking
to
the bear.
be. Yeah, there
That's
we go.
what we're doing. And so this podcast this week being the podcast at the end of the year, we're doing a number of special things. First thing is obviously we are reviewing the film that's coming out this week, which is going to be Ferrari.
I think it's coming out. I think it came out yesterday.
We're looking to see a preview of it.
Yeah.
We're analysing the top 10 at the end of the year, and then we're also cherry picking one or two of our favourites of the year as well.
Yes,
Yes, and then obviously topping off with a little bit of homework.
beautiful. So the top 10
Top 10.
is pretty similar to last week. So I think we'll just fly through this.
I think so.
I think
yes.
there's quite a lot to talk about with
That's
Ferrari.
right.
So at number 10 is Home Alone.
Yes,
It's just brilliant, isn't it?
I haven't seen it this year.
Oh, just watch it.
Okay, I
Have you
should
watched?
do.
You've watched it ever?
I mean,
I think I have, but I can't remember.
Oh, you need that should be that.
Yes, I
Okay,
have.
I scrubbed my homework from later on. Just watch that because
Okay.
it is
But
actually
Christmas
so
is
good.
finished. Can we still watch it?
Yeah, apparently so. You just think it's Christmas 2024 started
Okay.
early. Number 9, Elf the 20th of You did watch this.
Of course it did.
Yes,
Went to see the
perfect.
cinema.
Number 8, The Nutcracker is not a film. Number 7, Animal. We're not
Yes.
going to see it.
Yep.
Number 6, Saltburn.
Yep.
Still hanging in there.
It's brilliant. It's really good. And it's now streaming, so everyone can
Sunday
listen to our
night,
podcast.
Sunday night.
It was one of our funnest podcasts, that one, wasn't
It's
it?
going to be my my New Year's Eve party.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Theme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Nice.
Anyway, carry on.
So are you singing Sunday night because that's New Year's Eve or that's when it's coming out?
That's when I'm going to be watching it New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
With
Perfect.
with
Okay.
everyone else dressed as Saltburn.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Napoleon.
Yes.
It's alright, isn't it? Number 4 is Wish. It's not alright, is
No,
it?
haven't seen it.
Number 3, The Hunger Games. Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Still at number 3.
Number 2, Godzilla -1. That is
Still.
such a good spot for it to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
just behind Wonka. Honestly, such a good film. Go and see that.
Creeping
at the
behind
cinema.
Timothy.
Epic. Number 1 is Wonka.
Yes, indeedy.
Justifiably
I
so.
think so. Yes, it definitely deserves to stay there for at least another week or two. I think.
Have you heard anyone say that they don't like it?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah, some very good friends of mine went to see
Oh.
it. The
Are they still very good friends of yours?
They are just about, but these friends are very particular in what they like to see, but not in a way that goes in line with my taste of music. There you go, of films. So
they're not Swim Fan fans.
not in any shape or form. They one of them fell asleep, and the other one despised the entire movie as they watched it. The only reason why they didn't leave is because the other one fell asleep.
I would have still left and then
Just left the other one
gone to
asleep.
the bar.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So anyway, so yes,
Wow.
there are people out there. Sort yourselves out.
Yeah, that needs some help,
I
doesn't
know.
it?
Yes, exactly.
So so I was just saying to you guys earlier on that the recently watched on my streaming platforms has changed so
Your
significantly.
algorithms.
I'm just wondering, what the streaming platforms are going to be offering me next year is because you watched. It's going to be quite interesting.
It's going to be
Yeah,
amazing.
here's your 2023 review.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
almost
I might-
need a separate profile in the house.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the Popcorn Pundits Room of Darkness.
That's it. The James Mole Crone
Yes,
channel.
the basket case. That's what you need.
There we go.
Pro memoirs.
Yeah.
I like to think
We should
it's
make
been.
that. That sounds brilliant. Awesome.
So that's it. That's your top 10 over and done with. The Popcorn Pundits. Done.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So we were looking to go and see a preview of Ferrari. So we're presuming that quite a few of the people listening to this have not seen this movie yet.
Yeah.
Now I knew nothing about cars. I still know nothing about cars.
And how did you feel
I'm gonna
about
bring that
going
up.
to see this? Before you went to the cinema, so like on the way to the taxi,
Yeah.
there are certain like I was talking last week about when I was on the way to Godzilla, I was
Yes.
absolutely dreading it.
Yes.
Because I was exhausted
Yeah.
and it was a Japanese language movie with subtitles, and walked out like going, "What a breath of fresh air." I was super excited to go and see Ferrari. I just had this image of what it was going to be as a movie.
I was the reason it's weird, but no matter what movie I'm going to see, 9 times out of 10, I try to go with as blank page as much as possible. Emotionally, everything. I really try to go with.
Blank everything
I
out.
try to blank everything out. I try to go with no expectations. I try to go with no hope or need, or I don't go with anything on a plate already. There, go, please give me this from a film. I like to go, show me, and then I'll decide whether I like it or not.
Okay.
And I went to that with Ferrari, but I also went to that with Ferrari versus Ford, for instance, my other only sports-related movie that I know about, and Days of Sun, say for instance. They're my only references on film of film cars and movie films. And would you like to explain the story briefly?
Yes. So
When is it set?
So this is set in the 1950s.
Yes.
So this film's directed by Michael Mann, who directed Last of the Mohicans and Heat and Collateral.
Yes. Heavy films.
Heavy films, but very, very stylised movies as well. All of them have a very, very strong image.
And usually technically spot on. I believe that there's a scene in Heat where apparently there are groups of Navy SEALs that actually look at some of the formations that they did in Heat, and they went, "That's how you should be doing it." Apparently,
Is that right?
Yeah.
But it does look like it has that kind of level of detail.
Yeah.
Anyway, this movie is set in the 1950s when Enzo Ferrari was basically trying to make the Ferrari brand hugely successful.
Yes.
And he was competing against Maserati, and his financial knowledge and expertise and his joie de vivre and his happiness to spend money
Yes.
basically meant that Ferrari were goosed.
Yes,
And the situation...
he wasn't a good businessman, was he?
He wasn't a good businessman. And the only way that Ferrari as a brand were going to survive was to win the Mille Miglia, which is an Italian road race,
Right.
which is super duper famous.
Okay.
And his biggest competitors on that day were going to be Maserati.
Right.
Now, running parallel to this story is the relationship side of the Ferrari family.
Yes.
So Enzo Ferrari is played by Adam Driver, and his wife Laura Ferrari is played by Penelope Cruz, or Penelope Cruz, as I've written.
I
on
like
my
that.
notes, which I
Mate,
think she
mind
should
you, there
change.
were certain moments where she was Penelope Loopy Cruise.
That's crazy. Before the film had started, there were
Yes.
situations which meant that Laura Ferrari had been issued with 51% of the shares of the company and the deeds to the factory.
Yes.
And so the story develops that Enzo Ferrari needs to take control of her shares and the deed of the factory to be able to get finance into the company to make Ferrari the brand that we know that it is today. However, there's a little fly in the ointment, which is basically that Enzo Ferrari has had a mistress for the last 12, 13 years.
Yes, in a years.
And he has a son by another woman, a lady called Lena Lardi. And it is basically the battle that Enzo has to have with Laura to try and take control of the company. It's the battle between the loves between the two women.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's his love for the daughter. Oh, there is also another thing that the son that Enzo Ferrari had with Laura Ferrari,
Yes.
very sadly passed away.
So the adulterated child is a second boy.
Yes.
Yes.
And
that causes issues in itself.
there's a
doesn't it?
whole world of politics. It's a beautifully layered lasagna of a plot.
Okay.
Ooh,
Right.
good description.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? I agree with you completely. I thought the plot was quite thought-provoking, particularly... Now, when you say the plot was quite thought-provoking, I felt that the personal plot was quite thought-provoking. I felt that the car plot wasn't.
I totally agree with you. So we need to kind of go into a little bit of a
I think
discussion
so.
about the video because
Yeah.
I'm desperate to tell you how much I fucking hated this film.
Go for it.
I've really fucking hated this film. Okay, so we're going to start with the fact that Adam Driver.
Yes. Which I love the fact that he's called Adam Driver
Yeah.
and she's called Penelope Cruz.
I know, exactly.
And they're both in a car film.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Well, that's as good as he gets in
Oh.
it. He stinks. He cannot act. He cannot do an Italian accent. He still looks like Kylo Ren dressed up for his school fancy dress outfit.
Wow.
It's just awful. It's so bad. And he's just like wooden to hell. So there's a scene in the movie, isn't there, where Penelope Cruz is basically in a mausoleum on her own.
Yes. Now that is...
And they are mourning.
That was going to be one of my key points to highlight.
So Penelope Cruz drags this film through the
Yes.
whole way. And the reason I hate this film, it being a Michael Mann movie
Yes.
and being about Ferrari.
Yes, you were hoping it was going to be all whistles and bells.
No, I was hoping for long sliding films, films
Yes.
of the beautiful lines of cars
Yes.
moving onto the beautiful Italian countryside.
Yeah.
They missed everything.
There was
missed
no love for cars in this film at all, I felt.
My
And I don't even know anything about
My
cars.
favourite Italian phrase is bella figura, which means beautiful life.
Right.
And basically, this is why all Italian men just dress
Or
so
unless you're from Slough.
stunningly beautifully. The majority of
One for
Italian
you.
men. Yeah, they've got this thing that you just always do your best. You
Absolutely.
always make everything look
Yes.
the best. It's not form over function, but it's pretty close to that. You
Yeah, my
just-
wife says to me, I've got epiculia, which is basically a lover of life.
Yeah.
And you put aside any sort of basic needs, as long as you're living life.
I just thought he totally missed that on it.
I agree
I didn't
completely.
come out thinking, oh my god, that particular car, that was the one. And
Yeah.
okay, so there are scenes of racing at the beginning. I've
Yes.
got to say, actually, the point of view filming of
Oh, yes.
of the racing,
The race scenes
I thought was excellent.
were quite
because
gripping.
They were really showing you how the racing line
I agree.
makes a massive difference to timing and
Yeah.
how different drivers do different types of driving. And I was trying to watch you when
Yeah.
when we were watching it
Yeah.
because I know that you're not a Formula One
Not
fan
at
or
all.
anything like that.
No.
And I was just like going, oh, he is properly pushing the
Yeah,
lines here.
yeah.
And and obviously there are some causes and effects of what happens with that and everything.
Yes.
But it's
I mean, there are two key points for me in the film from a non car loving sort of viewpoint. One was Penelope Cruz's incredible moment in the at her son's grave, which was just so beautiful, and he didn't. His pace of it was beautiful. He didn't speed it up, but didn't make it too long as well.
It was the best moment in the movie.
The
100%.
second best moment in the movie was the crash. The crash to me was, I mean, because we're not giving anything away because actually the crash is actually technically in the trailer.
Yes.
So you know there's going to be a crash, and that's the nature of car racing and so on and so forth. But Michael Mann really proved his directing chops by just going, I'm just going to stop everybody in the cinema just for a moment and let them catch a breath when they watch this horrendous moment.
Well, the crash in itself
Yes.
is absolutely breathtaking. It is breathtaking
100%.
because the you can see that the crash is coming.
Absolutely.
You know it's going to happen.
coming. Yeah, exactly.
But the actual the physical crash
Yes.
of the car flying through the air and how it does it
Yeah.
is absolutely astonishing. But the instant aftermath of
Yes.
that crash makes that it puts the crash into absolute insignificance
I
by
agree.
comparison.
Yeah.
It is horror
Yeah.
followed by capital H horror. It is
Absolutely.
horrific.
Yeah, and
absolutely
and
horrific.
for me personally, that his reaction to that crash, and his reaction to the girlfriend sitting on the logo of Ferrari on the bonnet seat, that to me summed up the disdain towards the love of the car, because it was all to do with logos. It was all to do with the brand. It was all to do with not even the winning. It was all to do with not even the pride. I just felt it was empty. I felt it was cold. I felt it had no humour. No, it took itself far too seriously, and I think it thinks it's something that it's not. That's what I personally feel.
Well, I started trying to watch House of Gucci after this because I was trying to work out whether this was just a bad Adam Driver performance,
Yes,
or whether this is what he does.
Yes,
and I can't finish it. He's ruined.
Gucci's a fantastic.
But I can't believe him. I just don't.
I
think
you need to give him some hiatus, and I think you need to give him a little bit of time. I think you need to watch Lucky Logan,
okay,
which is very good.
There was one other thing in the film which we both absolutely loved.
What was that?
It was before the
The
film
end.
started. No, it was before the film started, because the BFI description of what was in the
Oh
film
yes,
was one of the most giggle-inducing things I think we've had in the cinema so far.
Yes, I
wasn't it?
think that was a highlight of the evening. To be quite honest with you, what was the description as a screen as the curtains came open? It was a certificate. What 15? I think
15.
15
for the brief sex scenes.
Brief sex scenes, which I think could have summed up Napoleon. And so no,
But every time there was any type of like bedroom shenanigans, we were just like, well, this isn't going to last long.
No,
is it?
not
It's just
exactly. It's going to be very brief, isn't it? Yes, exactly.
Oh, there we go. So coming out of the film, what did you take from it? Did you think it was a good film?
I came out empty. I came out completely empty. I came out. I actually came out not liking the brand Ferrari because it really. I felt no love towards it. I felt there was no art involved.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. You just left. So I'm going to use a sporting analogy.
Yeah.
It was a swing and a miss.
Really?
It was. There was so much there that could have made this.
Yes.
I think.
There was no love.
An amazing film.
Yeah.
And I don't think they knew what they were trying to make with it, and they should have made one type of film or another. It should have been a sports film or a romance film, and they tried to blend the two together. And unfortunately, I think maybe on the editing room floor, they missed both.
I think if you're going to go and see a film that has Ferraris in it, watch Ford versus Ferrari.
100%.
Because to me, Christian Bale's performance and also Matt Damon and everybody else involved with that film really made you really appreciate the car itself, but also made you excited about the race. And then also there was that heartfelt moment of all the personalities. I mean, joking apart, there's even a scene in Days of Thunder when Robert Duvall is talking about the contours of the line of the car before the Daytona race. Do you ever did that?
Yeah.
I've peaked now. That's it.
This is really good.
I've peaked. I've peaked. That's it. But there was no love. There was no. This is good. This line is going to do this. And even the way that Ferrari describes one or two of his cars, we go, well, that's the slow one, and it's going to be good around the corner. So you might as well drive that one. And then also, Ferrari never drives a Ferrari in a movie.
No, I know.
Not once.
I know. So
which I kind of liked and didn't like.
There was a line in the film
Yes.
which basically describes exactly what we're talking about. So everyone I've ever known who's been in motorsport
Yes.
is an absolute psycho.
Right.
And even if they appear to be normal on a day-to-day level, the second they get near a car,
They go.
they are absolute
Batshit.
nut jobs.
I'm with you.
Absolute nut jobs. And Adam Driver uses the phrase terrifying passion. It's our terrifying passion that we have, and that was what was missing. There was no feeling of passion either towards the beauty of the cars or the
Not even
functionality
mild
of the car.
passion.
Brief
Scenes of passion.
yeah, there was even those there was no
Yeah.
passion, unsadly. But
So anyway, okay. So we've established that we're not a great lover of the film. You've definitely had some sort of disdain towards Adam Driver. Penelope Cruz obviously pulled up the
she was
level.
she was amazing.
She was amazing. Camera angles are fantastic. The cinematography in certain scenes were breathtaking. The special effects and the orchestration of the crash was beautiful in itself. But you can't watch a film just for one crash.
YouTube that.
Yeah. What's your score?
6.5.
Wow.
It was an absolute swing and a miss. Hated it. Wanted to love it. Came out hating it.
I've given it 4.4.
It actually has on IMDb
Yes.
a score already.
Has it now?
What are we guessing the IMDb scores are?
4.9.
I think it's going to have a 6. I think it's going to be a flat 6 then.
Okay, it's actually 6.8.
Okay, so you've given it what? 6 point...
6.5.
3. Oh, you said 5.
6.5.
So that's 10.9 divided by 2, 5.45. So call it 5.5.
Wow.
Okay, so 5.5.
I think that's fair enough, you know.
I think that is fair enough.
Yeah.
How would
Yeah.
you make those scores better?
Do better, Michael Mann.
Yeah, start again from scratch.
Yeah,
Choose
I
what
agree.
your film's supposed to be.
In fact, just watch Ferrari versus Ford
Yeah.
and then follow it up with Days of Thunder.
100%. It was just honestly, this was terribly directed. Actually, what needed to do was a
Yeah.
different director because he didn't make a film.
Yeah.
So it's actually had 2 wins and 11 nominations already. One of them is Top Films 2023 winner,
Right.
the National Board of Review USA,
Really?
and the other one is the 2023 winner for Michael Mann, Icon and Creator Tribute for Innovation.
Yeah.
And that was the Gotham Awards.
Yeah, but that's just like, oh,
No
well done, Mike.
Chainsaw
Yeah,
Awards this year,
no
though.
Chainsaw Awards. But I don't.
Yes.
I just think. Just don't go and see it. Just don't go and see it. That's what I say.
So with our mantra of go to the cinema, we're now basically telling people to not go to the cinema.
Not for that film, no.
No.
Go and see Wonka instead.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, however, what about our films of this year?
Well. Ho, ho, ho.
So obviously it's been a year with the film writers' strikes and everything. So it's been a bit of an odd year, hasn't it?
Yes.
And I don't.
I think we're yet to feel the repercussions of that.
Do you think next year's going to be slower in terms of the releases than this year? Because
I think they're going to space them out. I think they're going to space them out, and I think we're going to get some drivel in between.
I don't think this was the greatest year of cinema. And
Oh, I don't know. This year was
Do you not watch Silver?
I've seen 69 films at the cinema this year.
Yeah.
Okay, starting off with the very first one, Man Called Otto.
Yeah. Okay, there have been some good films.
However,
this year.
that wasn't even a highlight. Then you had The Whale,
Yeah.
which was just. I mean, yes, incredible movie. But no, I disagree. I think it's been one of these. I think it's been one of these years that people didn't expect a lot to happen, and I think a lot did happen. And you had Barbie, you had Oppenheimer, you had Mission Impossible. We've had a fantastic selection of really interesting films this year.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of feel like we started the podcast at the absolute perfect time because it kind of feels like the good stuff, the gravy came out.
And the strikes were starting to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Everything was picking back up again.
So I was trying to kind of start my thinking about what would be my choice for film of the year.
Yes.
And I was kind of thinking, which films did I enjoy this year? So kind of, I really enjoyed the 3rd volume of Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought that was...
Did you?
I did, and I liked it because normally when you get to volume 3s and volume 4s,
Yeah.
especially of the Marvel franchise, they are pants.
Yeah,
and
usually.
we went to see the Marvels, and it was
did.
just a
That was in the
mess,
second one,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
However, this wasn't a mess. It was they'd found a new angle to how to kind of
Rocket
storyline. Rocket's storyline was really emotional.
It was.
It still had the comedy, still had the drama, still had the everything. I thought it was a really, really good film.
I personally felt that it didn't have the magic that 2, or definitely didn't have the magic that 1 had. It didn't have that slightly. There was no edginess to it, and that it was just, to me, it felt like one of the last nails in the coffin for Marvel, for me personally, and they dared to cut off that line during the song of
That's what this is all about, isn't it?
It just really grates me. And yeah, you're right. Rocket's thing was really cleverly done, and it was a nice way of angling it from a different angle.
But it wasn't the greatest Marvel film of the year,
not
was it?
at all.
Because you saw the greatest Marvel film of the year last night.
Was it Taylor Swift Marvel?
Yes, I did actually. Yes, I did watch the Spider-Verse one.
Which was Spider-Man Through the Spider-Verse.
Very, very, very good film.
So
I really enjoyed it.
I saw the first one
Yes.
on a flight to Hong Kong.
Right.
And I'd done that, emptied the film selection. I was
Right.
just like, I'm going to have to watch a cartoon. I can't believe it. Anyway, I watched it, absolutely transfixed.
Yep.
Watched it again on the way back.
Right.
Then when I got back, I went to the cinema to watch it.
Wow.
And number one became one of my favourite movies of all time.
Okay.
And literally could not wait
For the second one to come out.
second one to come out. So for the first time ever,
Yes.
me, my son and my daughter bought tickets for a preview, and we went to the first preview showing of it when it came out.
Wow.
And then we all went back to the cinema to watch it again.
Amazing.
Love it.
It is so are you putting it on top of your list for this year?
I'm not telling you yet.
okay.
But so the soundtrack
Yes.
is on my gym soundtrack, and
It
it is
is.
never not on my Spotify playlist. So my Spotify Wrapped is the top listened to song is a song called Trist on the
right.
on the Spider-Man
Okay.
playlist, which I'm not hugely proud of.
No, it's got like a Tyler the Creator sort of feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got a moment in my day, which is my pre-gym pump
Okay.
up. Love it.
I agree. I really enjoyed it. So, Karen, what have you got on your sack for me?
I loved Asteroid City. I just thought that was
Was beautiful. Do you know
was-
what? That was absolutely beautiful.
It was just such a different pace, and we talk a lot about how busy our lives are, and
Yes.
and how for us both cinema is a distraction
Yeah.
from the everyday. You can't get better than that.
No,
it's just bonkers.
My
and-
favourite part of that was the animation of the alien.
yeah, it's just it.
There was no need for it, and it was just beautiful, and it worked really, really well.
It was just a beautifully made film,
Yes.
which you walk out, and they are long
Yeah.
films generally,
Yeah,
aren't they?
absolutely.
And you come out and just think that was beautiful.
I mean,
Just
yeah, but as a
absolutely
director,
beautiful.
you're in safe hands, and from an aesthetic point of view, and I was just talking about the circle, the golden circle of aesthetics and so on and so forth earlier on. The it's so pleasing to watch a director's vision in such a beautifully orchestrated way. I just love his filmmaking.
And then Killers of the Flower Moon was
Yeah.
it was a big movie
It's
for
a
us,
massive
wasn't
movie,
it?
yes.
Because
I think that was pretty much our first
Yeah.
biggie
we had
as
we had
a pundit.
We had a practice with Saw X, didn't we?
We did.
And then our first review was Killers of the Flower
Yes.
Moon, and it was, I think it was a movie of promise, and I'd never reviewed a movie in terms of
hadn't?
watching it and
Yep.
sitting down and actually talking about it,
Analysed it,
afterwards.
thought about it.
And so I think my opinion of Flowers of the Killer Moon still sticks exactly
Okay.
as I reviewed it
Good.
when I did it, which
Yeah.
was basically it wasn't quite Oscar worthy. It was a great film, well done,
Right.
some brilliant roles and some brilliant acting in it.
Have you seen it since?
No, I haven't.
No, nor have I.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting, isn't it?
No. It's like The Revenant. I think you've got to be in the right mood.
So I nearly picked The Revenant for your homework this week
Did you?
because I was scrolling through trying to find movies and
Thinking I hadn't seen it.
Well, no, thinking you'd obviously seen it, but what would you potentially
Yeah.
like to see again? Maybe you
Ah.
hadn't, because that's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh,
was
nice.
that I bet you haven't seen that twice, but it is worth a second watch, I think.
Okay.
So maybe I'll give that to you in the future.
Right.
And then Oppenheimer was the other one I wrote down, which was I watched just before we started doing this, and I found that to be epic. I loved that as a movie, and I loved the whole way that the mental torture that you must have to go through to create a nuclear bomb and potentially wipe out humanity, but knowing that this is something which is being
it's a big subject to take on as well.
And Cillian Murphy, I just think, just brilliantly acted and absolutely loved it.
Christopher Nolan, I think it's probably the least easiest to watch of all of his epic adventures. You know, you could watch the Batman's all day long. You could watch, Interstellar, and well, even Interstellar is quite is a big piece of cake to take hold of. And I think Oppenheimer, I'd put that in the same category, but worth it.
Just so worth it.
Worth it.
Just a brilliant film.
I agree. So
what?
What's your favourite of the year?
Oh, if you had to choose one.
I'm going to have to say Spider-Man.
Good shout. Very good shout. No, and after watching it yesterday, I could totally see.
Because you love to give us these little cryptics, don't you?
I do.
So you'll send us a little bit, I'm watching this tonight, and you'll just give us a little thing.
I do.
And I was so excited because within 1 second I was like, Spider-Man!
Yeah. I was sitting there with my crochet needles.
Yeah, love it.
Knitting.
Brilliant.
Cup of tea.
So
it was fantastic.
Talk to me about your year in film.
My year in film has been a roller coaster.
You've done 69 movies at the cinema.
Cinema.
Not included streamed movies.
And I watch a lot of streamed movies as well. And then I rewatch lots of really weird television series that I'm in the middle of Big Bang Theory at the moment. Anyway, that's another story completely. However,
it's not all about you, James.
It's not all about me. It's about me. I think it's been a fascinating year of film releases, and I think it's been a very brave year for quite a few directors and actors for this year as well, to actually try to come up with something original, try to come up with something that's going to cut through all the mustard and actually stand up on its own personal pedestal. I think Joaquin Phoenix has done a tremendous job this year with, Napoleon, and then also the Beau is Afraid, which you can't get any more opposite movies. You haven't seen Beau is Afraid yet. It's on my list for you. It will be coming for you. Don't worry about it.
But he is Joaquin Phoenix for you this year, isn't he? You love his work.
I totally adore that man completely. And I also really... He's got my pen.
He's making notes.
He's making
now.
notes. Yeah.
He never makes notes.
What's he going to be directing?
It's fine. Just a memory tag. That's all.
Okay, good. So anyway, and then of course you had the big hitters like Barbie. You got Oppenheimer this year. You've also had the Mission Impossible, the first half of the movie of the Day of Reckoning, and so you've had some gigantic big whoppers of films. And don't forget, we had The Whale this year as well, which took over everybody's life temporarily because of the beautiful acting and the incredible storyline with it. Two films I would like to highlight, because we can highlight all of the fantastic sort of blockbusters and so on and so forth, and I think it's important to recognise those. But I also think it's important for our listeners to get a little bit of a taste of something that they perhaps would have swept underneath the carpet, and I did as well initially. So the first film I'd like to mention initially is it, how do you pronounce that?
Sisu.
It is it's set in. Have you seen it? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's I think it's Norwegian. It's definitely Nordic. It's not an English speaking film at all. It's set at the very, very tail end of World War II.
This is not Godzilla.
No, not Godzilla.
Okay,
but this particular word, which I can't even say after you've said it now, is described and explained at the start of the film, because it is an expression of unrelenting not giving up. Okay, So the idea is you have something, you don't want to give it up, and there is nothing anybody can ever do.
You're sure this isn't Godzilla?
100%.
Okay, just double checking.
100%. And so the storyline of this film is this gold digger A literal gold digger, not in a the Kanye West sort of styling. This gold digger.
Was anyone else thinking?
This gold digger, this gold miner, finds a lump of gold in the ground, carries and digging, and realises it's a big lump of gold, and he puts it all in his rucksacks and with his horses, and he's travelling through the tail end of his country, realising that the German army is actually exiting his country, but they're coming towards him, actually going past him, sort of thing. So the tension is already there. Not a word has been said at this point. Okay, not a word has been said, and they obviously clock him walking past. He's a mountain of a man with a massive big beard, looking very serious, and then they instantly know that he's hiding something, and then it just carnage for literally 2 hours of people being just chopped up in tiny little
like
pieces.
John Wick type.
If John Wick was in World War II and it was an X-rated film rather than a 15-rated film, it would be that.
Is this streaming at the moment?
Yes. This is going to be your film.
Oh,
this
brilliant.
is going to be your homework.
This sounds right on my
It
street.
is. There's no second half to it. There's no. They all turn into aliens. There's no people coming out of other people, and there's
Are you talking about my film taste?
and there's no weird sort of thing. There are certain parts of the film where carnage is put onto somebody else in such a comic way, but also in such a gruesome way. You gasp and you laugh, and you're frightened and you're excited all at the same time.
Awesome. Thank you for my homework.
There you
Well,
go.
there you go.
However, that's not my film of the year.
Okay.
My film of the year is a film called The Dive.
Right.
Okay. Unlike any movie that I would usually ever recommend for you at all, and in fact, it wouldn't be a movie that I would have even went to see at the cinema, even if somebody asked me to go. Wouldn't see it, but completely by accident. It was one of the screen and scenes, and that's
right,
what
okay.
screen and scene is so good for. So we went to see this film called The Dive, Screen and Scene. We had no idea what it was. We all sit down. The cinema is absolutely packed at this point, and then we realise that, weirdly, I don't know how this happened, that I've actually got the same cinema seats as somebody else has. He's walked up to me and went, do you mind? And actually, we've obviously both got the same seat. Weirdly,
Yeah.
the app has obviously not worked. We've got to have a quick chat, and he goes, well, actually, I think it's going to be The Dive, and I think everybody else does as well. I don't want to go and see The Dive. I'm going to go because he's paid £5 to go to cinema. So I sit down. Anyway, so I see him come back again, and he's sitting in another seat. The curtains open, and yes, it is The Dive. And he gives it 5 minutes, sits back up, and walks out the cinema. What a mistake he made. It is that the storyline of this movie is literally two female friends hooking up together after they haven't seen each other for a long time. There's tiny bits of dialogue in a very realistic way where people haven't seen each other for a while, they're travelling, they're not talking just for the sake of it, and there's real conversations about their past and why they haven't seen each other for a while. It's a very, very real feeling film, almost documentary style, but the pace of it is very, very slow. And they go to a lake, and they're both experienced divers. One is more experienced than the other, and they decided to go. And this is their trip. They go for a dive, and this is what they do as friends. And something happens, and an accident happens, and one of them gets trapped, and there's nothing giving away because obviously there's all part in the trailer as well. But the ongoing storyline and the ongoing problem solving and the lack of dialogue, but also the dialogue is used really cleverly in between. And obviously a lot of it's underground, so there's no dialogue at all. A lot of it's hand language. And it's gripping. It's gripping, it is emotional, it is thrilling, it is really well produced, very well directed. And I give it a 9.1.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. I give it a 9.1, not expecting it to be a film that I'd ever watch at all. I definitely recommend, and it's the sort of movie that if you do watch it at home, because I presume it's streaming now, if you do watch it at home, all lights go out.
So why did you make me watch all the shit that you made me watch if you got that in your locker?
Well, it's a slow burner,
Wow.
and slowly but surely, I'm giving you different flavours. I'm like a chef.
Bless you, man.
Yeah, I don't want to give you the steak straight away. You've got to get the starter to get you warmed up.
So your film of the year is The Dive.
That's correct.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes, that's
I'll
my film of the
look
year.
forward to watching that.
But you need to watch this one first.
What's the other one called?
It's called Sisu.
Yay.
Beautiful, well done.
Yes.
Very good. Or just Sisu.
Or Sisu.
Did you see Sisu?
Sisu or Sisei?
Did you see Sisu?
Nikki, what would your film of the year be?
I think mine would either be Oppenheimer or Wonka.
Nice.
Wonka was right up there for me as well.
Yeah.
Actually. I was thinking about going Wonka.
Yeah, I think Oppenheimer or Wonka, they're two very different films.
Yes.
About two very different things, but it was just the cinematography of it.
Yes.
The fact that I left there wanting to go straight back in on both of them just to watch it again.
Nice.
Which for me is a big deal with it.
No, I agree completely.
I think Oppenheimer felt like the biggest blockbuster of the film, didn't it?
And
I think to me it kind of felt
Barbie thing as well. So for me it's Oppenheimer or Wonka.
Biggest disappointment of the year? Meg 2.
Marvels.
Yeah.
Marvels was just absolutely awesome.
But let's not delve upon the negativity, as considering I've brought it up. Why don't we work briskly over to homework that's been received? Mr. Unger, you were given...
The one that was set by me.
Yes.
A nice Nicky film.
Wow. Okay.
The Triangle of Sadness. Now,
So-
bearing in mind I've seen this already, would you like to give a really short, because I think it's going to be a really long podcast, would you like to give a really short storyline?
It starts off talking between a male and female model, and they're talking about the gender difference within the industry. And then they go out for dinner, and there's an argument about who should pay for dinner
Yes.
and why. And then, okay, so what?
Can I ask you a question? Can you just, before you go any further, can you do an impersonation? If you're modelling Gap, what sort of face would you pull? No Gap, that is. If you're modelling Gucci,
Burberry.
what would you be? Yeah, thank you. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so this film is broken up into 3 or 4 different segments. I only watched this last night, so I didn't kind of write a review for it. I'm doing this from memory.
Yes.
Basically,
It's not a film you'll forget easily.
the second scene is set on a yacht,
Yes.
and I was watching this last night with
It's technically
with Pauline.
3 acts, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It and then the yacht scene is. It's just brilliant.
It's almost
basically-
slaps. It's almost Carry On movie, isn't it?
Yeah, but not because
Yeah.
it's done in such a realistic way. Where basically, the captain of the ship is Woody Harrelson, who is clearly an alcoholic. He's stuck in his cabin,
Yes.
and won't do anything. And then this is a cruise ship which has like about 12 or 13 couples on it, who are the majority of them are billionaires.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
And,
It's the elites of the blue
and
chip.
these 2 models who are influencers have been invited onto the cruise ship as
Yes.
well. And it's basically the interaction between the crew of the ship and the mega wealthy passengers on the ship.
That's right.
And that's what this film is doing the whole way through.
It's class system.
It's addressing the class system and our opinions and. I mean, just so,
Influencers,
everything. And
society, consumerism.
we have to talk about the cruise ship bit because there is a captain's dinner, which is basically put back because the captain's in his cabin and won't come out. And so basically, they end up having this captain's dinner while there's a storm going on outside.
That's right.
And it turns into the most brutal vomit and shit fest I've ever seen. I mean, in anything ever. I mean, it is done comedically, but it's done incredibly realistically. That we were sat on the sofa having just had our cheese and biscuits and
Nice.
and
Good timing.
So I was watching it with Pauline, and like every time any moment happened,
Yes.
we were just like, "Oh my god, that's just like that's brutal."
Yeah.
Absolutely
It
brutal.
wasn't quite Monty Python in its.
No.
In
I
its
don't think it's Monty Python at all.
No,
it's,
not at all.
The situation is comedic.
yes.
But the actual reality of
Yeah.
the cinematography
quite
of the
brutal
film
in
is
its way.
brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
there is a woman sliding
Yeah.
left and right past a toilet,
Yes.
and like throwing up, but she's it's just
On an
it is-
omelette
it is
of-
a brutal watch.
Yes.
And Paulie was just like, honestly, why are we watching a James recommendation on Boxing Day? And I went, this isn't James, this is Nikki. And she was just like, oh my God, what's wrong with those two? And at that point, I was just like, oh my God, what is wrong with those two people that I'm doing a podcast with?
And then you got the third act.
Yeah.
Then the third act comes, and then now we're watching Pygmalion, We're watching Lord of the Flies.
We are!
And it is so
But also,
geniusly
but also
done.
done really well. Done weirdly well.
So it's done so well, and the opinions cast in scene 1 are flipped on their head in scene 3.
Yes.
And the opinions in scene
Yes.
1 are flipped on. This film
I agree.
is
Yeah.
absolute genius.
And what I
It
love
is.
about it, there is no lead actor.
Yes.
They're
Weirdly.
Yeah, I mean the
'Cause each
couple.
actor almost has a lead actor.
Yeah, absolutely right, and they have a role and a purpose, and
So
but
are you saying 10 out of 10 then, Peter?
it's we need to get that bit in a minute. It didn't have Samuel L. Jackson in it, so it can't be a 10. But I have to say, considering scene 1, I was thinking, no, this is all right. I can kind of see where this is going, and I thought
commercialism.
I thought I knew where the film was going.
Yeah,
and
you
I
do,
was
yes.
thinking Blue Steel, and I was thinking, and then the second scene came. And it totally threw me. It was so far from left field, but I loved the characterization of the Russian oligarchs on board.
Yes.
I said shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I said shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And, but you can just we've met them, haven't we?
We have.
And
We know a few of them.
And then when you get to scene 3,
Yes.
it just pulls everything together so beautifully,
Yeah.
and you do think, my God, I don't know who wrote it, I don't know who produced it. Really sorry, Nikki can tell us in a minute, but they knew what they were doing.
They did,
It was a film which was beautifully concepted, beautifully written, and then put together absolutely geniusly, leading you down one corridor.
Yeah. It was. I felt it was more character driven. So each character had a certain level of, but they stayed true to their character no matter what scenario they were in. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So
absolutely 100%.
So from the very beginning, very beginning, the male model was this lost sort of empty shell of an individual, and he didn't really change all the way through.
Well,
but
no,
the scenario around him
it
changed dramatically.
He had a very vacuous persona, but he had very strong opinion.
Yes.
which is and his partner.
Mm-hmm.
She was just a bitch,
Wasn't she?
I mean, she was just vile. Yes. I mean, she was basically everything that you hate about a model.
Yes.
And yeah. Anyway, so it is so the phrase I didn't expect to come out of Pauline's mouth as the credits started rolling at the end.
Yeah.
Was
I'll watch that again.
I really enjoyed that.
No,
like
really?
that. I really enjoyed that.
Wow.
I went, do you remember the woman sliding in her own feces?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Very good. Nikki, thank you very, very much.
That's okay.
We're not gonna give it a 10 because it's not a
No,
10.
9.9?
We're gonna put it in the realms of 7s, and we're gonna put it in. You know how I score. Nikki's looking devastated at this moment.
Heartbroken.
Okay, we're going to put it in at 7.7.
7 points.
Which is a really good score for me.
That is a very good
For
score
you,
for
yeah,
him.
with the Peter scale.
Yeah.
And it was written and directed by Ruben Östlund.
Awesome. Now, one of my favourite scenes is when the captain, played by Woody Harrelson, who is an American communist, is trapped in his cabin with a
Russian
socialist.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes,
and the two of them are basically talking. They play a
don't
drinking game, and they're using the tannoy basically to kind of shout out their political standpoints.
That's right. Yeah,
sound
exactly.
bites.
Yes,
and all of the other passengers on board basically think the ship's going down. It is like it's just
panic
it's
station.
so beautifully done.
Yeah,
it's absolutely brilliant. But like laugh out loud moments in it. Awesome film. Really, really good.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Good. Right, I think we've done.
I think we need to set homework for next week.
Yes. Well, my homework for young Peter is Sisu.
Okay, well done. That's very good.
Thank you.
Did you see Sue?
No, I see someone in the seesaw.
So,
What?
And mine for you is Crazy Stupid Love.
Stupid Love.
Which is a film which I think your romantic comedy is not, I don't think, your favourite genre, and I think this is one of the prized romantic comedies of recent years. I'd like to watch it and like your opinion, please.
Okay.
And you finally found a film that James hasn't seen.
Which is virtually impossible.
Which I'm shocked about. I nearly fell on the floor.
I can't wait to see this film. I've seen snippets of this film where there is moments of Ryan Gosling talking to Steve
Carell
about his Velcro wallet. So I'm very excited to see this.
So I'm not a big fan of romantic comedy, and I think I've probably seen this 5 or 6 times.
Yes, I've heard it comes from a slightly different angle.
It does. It's
Good, I'm looking forward to it.
It's really good.
Crazy Stupid Love will be reviewed next week. Sisu will also be reviewed next week as well. Do we have a film for the cinema for next week?
Oh, that's a good question. What about the Nicholas Winton one?
The Nicholas Winton film.
One Life, which is due out on the 1st of January.
Okay, well, let's have a look into that. One Life. We will report back to you. Right. I think we're done.
I think it's time for the papas.
Papa, papa,
And then I did mean say goodbye first.
Popcorn Pundits.
podcast. Goodbye.
End of year special.
End of year special. Adios, amigos.
Go to the cinema.
We'll see you on the other side.
See you in 2024.
You know it.
Right, should we go and get some breakfast?
Well, I've got to go and do my fitting. I'm late.